Hi everyone, the theme of this video is the Personal Information Protection Management System JISQ 50001, so-called the P mark in Japan. I believe many business people who live in Japan often see the P mark logo on the Japanese company's website or business cards. That is evidence of the organization has third-party audit for JISQ 50001 from JIPDEC organization in Japan. According to JIPDEC, over 60,000 organizations are conformity to JISQ 50001 as of January 2020. I wanted to know why the P mark logo is so attractive for Japanese organizations. That curiosity brought me to JIPDEC designated auditor training. I definitely recommend people in any kind of industry to take this training and exam, which I'm going to explain from now to protect your organization's data privacy and yours, even though your job is not related to audit. This training is so useful for everyone, including foreigners and Japanese fresh graduates. I will explain the reason why I'm thinking in that way in this video. First of all, I will explain about the course. The contents of the training is highly confidential. So I filmed bento boxes which were served during the 5-day training. The JISQ 50001 Auditor 5 days long training will be provided by the JIPTEC Outsourced Training Center only. So you must take the course in Japanese. In Japan, neither remote training nor English translation is available so far. The training is so intensive. They will explain to us not only the JIPTEC audit method and JISQ 15001 frameworks, but also the Japanese Protection of Personal Information Act, 個人情報保護法, GDPR, CCPA, and other countries' relevant act. At the same time, to understand the things are missing from their own rules, we have question and answer session and case studies, and audit demonstration by 5 trainees with our tutor to build JISQ 50001 audit skills and JISQ 50001 interpretations. Secondly, I will talk about the global obligation against the Japanese Protection of Personal Information Act. Please don't forget every single organization that has more than 2 employees, including an owner, has to be compliant with the Japanese law, so almost every single person has to learn about the Japanese Protection of Personal Information Act, including foreigners in other countries, if they process the personal data of Japanese citizens. Thirdly, I will talk about why these laws are so confusing for many. There are 2 reasons. The law is not so strict so far in 2020, but it becomes stricter year by year to comply with other countries. So we have to catch up on the updated each law and keep adding doors to our organization data privacy policies, standards, and procedures upon requirements. There are ISO 27701 for privacy protection and JISQ 50001 for personal data protection and more, such as ISO 27018, ISO 29151, ISO 29100. So organizations are still wondering which frameworks or standard they need to use for proving they are compliant to Protection of Personal Information Act. Using JISQ 50001 is not the only one solution for this. It's so confusing. Please remember the Japanese Protection of Personal Information Act is much more than JISQ 50001. And JISQ 50001 is more than GDPR. In short, compliant to Japanese Protection of Personal Information Act is not enough to comply with GDPR, and the GDPR is not the only one Japanese has to consider. Each country has its own law about processing personal data. We must follow all countries' law depending on how the data goes from your organization and how it comes into yours. Of course, compliance with the Japanese Protection of Personal Information Act and conformity to JISQ 50001 is totally different from each other. It's confusing, isn't it? Lastly, I will talk about who can solve this complexity for our organization. No one outside of our organization has a responsibility to sort out the current chaotic situation at this moment. It may be our law department staff or our company attorney because each company may process a different type of personal data in a different way. So our organization individually works on solving on our problem little by little not to violate any kind of laws globally. Data leakage incident will become a cause of corporate reputation damage and it may cause a lawsuit from our clients. That will be a hassle for legal compliance manager. Eventually, all accountability will go to top management once a data leakage incident occurred. Have a nice holiday and thank you for watching my video in 2020.